Hey guys, real quick, I don't think this is going to be real quick, but I will be going live sometime this week. I'm hoping if all of our schedules aligned with Des and my other friend Talia, who us three want to talk about a situation that obviously, if you guys have been following me on Instagram and paying attention to what's been going on with the girl named under FenixDelMictlan. Her real name is Dania Campos. So I refer her as Dania because I feel completely disrespectful by even mentioning Mictlan in her name after everything that she's done. And I just want to give you guys a little insight. This is so not like me. Even when there was a time when somebody else was misusing Santa Muerte and weaponizing her and scamming people. It never got to this point because that person knew that they were in the wrong. They still tried to come back here and there. They're no longer working under Santa Muerte though, so that's why I've never really had to address it to the extent that I am now with this girl. I'm gonna give you guys the whole entire story of what has happened, and I want to share my frustration in regards to this because it's completely unfair for me, for one, to hold back on what's been really going on. For two, to keep seeing people supporting somebody that's scamming people. For three, and most importantly, somebody that's weaponizing Santa Muerte. If you guys listen back to older episodes on my Spirit Tea Talks podcast here on the pod, y'all will know that one of my biggest promises with Santa Muerte was to call out people that were misusing her. And granted that I didn't even know that was even a huge thing, but that was one of my promises, and maybe it was for a reason. This whole shit show that transpired with FenixDelMictlan, Dania, is because I'm friends with Roman, and many fucking people know who I'm talking about, who he is. Y'all might have been following him forever. Me and him would go live. We still keep in touch. He is a great fucking person, and I've been in contact with him for a very long time, and we so more became close this year, which I am incredibly thankful. Dania, however, had felt threatened for whatever reason. No, Dania and him were never dating. They never had a thing. He squashed that. From what he's told me in his side of the story, he let her know that it was never going to be like that. However, that's what she wanted, and he just kind of ended it. This was during the time that I was constantly going on live. He was going on live. Me and him were just, very much active on social media and just supporting each other, really. I guess she would constantly see that him and I would go and interact with each other. We were planning on going on sushi lunches and just hanging out with each other because we're in the same fucking city. And anybody who's a practitioner, y'all know how hard it is to find people that are in the same things that you're into and are respectful of that matter. So it was very exciting for the both of us to try to get together. He's still going to be part of the Spirit Tea Talks podcast in a future episode. And we still keep in touch, But she didn't like that. She became very jealous. And during this time, I didn't really know who she was. Not at all. Just would see her interact and here and there. Only reason why I knew who she was because of Des. And Des had been following me, and I followed her back for maybe a little bit over a year, if I'm not mistaken. She joined one of my rituals, I think sometime last year when I was in LA, if I remember correctly. And I liked her vibe, so I followed her back, and we just kind of been mutuals in that sense. So the only reason why I knew about Dania was because of Des. There wasn't nothing more to it. I just knew that they were close. That was her bestie by the way that they would always interact. So Dania came into the picture late August, and I can remember this exactly because this is when Santa Muerte's feast day was approaching, which was August 16th, and everybody was talking about when is it really her feast day, and I had made a video about Santa Muerte is known to have multiple feast days, whatever not. And this was during the time that I got introduced to FenixDelMictlan on social media. So me thinking, because she has mutuals such as Des and Roman, that like she'd be cool just like them, because I get along with them perfectly fine. It wasn't until Mommy's second feast day, which was September 9, that I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw that Des and Danielle were on live on TikTok. So I decided to join because I like to support fellow devotees, and I just like to hear other people talk about Santa Muerte, especially when it comes in a good light. We don't have many of that happening, so I made sure to be supportive in that sense. Now, we are on the live. I had even sent Roman that live, and I remember that very specifically, that I had sent him the live because I thought we all just were kumbaya with each other. So Roman ended up joining. We're all in the chat. We're just having a good fucking time. They're talking about their experience with Santa Muerte and sharing the love, blah, blah, blah. And Des asked if the both of us wanted to join, me and Roman, on the live. I said yes. He said yes. We joined together. So it was the four of us and just talking about Santa Muerte. Something in the energy was just really fucking off with Dania. So I kind of wanted to ease it up. And I thought honestly it was because she didn't really quite know me. So I wanted to kind of give her flowers and be like, I appreciate the work that you do and the way that you talk about Santa Muerte. Like, it's very beautiful. And, even after that, I still kind of felt kind of weird. So anyways, it wasn't a very long live. We logged off. And it wasn't after that I ended up even reaching out to her, because she was talking about doing like a ceremony with like the rivers and stuff. And if anybody knows me, I grew up in California, so I love the water, I love the ocean, I love the beach, and I've always felt this strong connection with the water spirits. So I felt like, let me just try to ease it up and communicate with her. Maybe this will make her feel a little bit more like comfortable with me. So I ended up following her on Instagram, and then I sent her a DM and asked her like, oh, so how do you do like your like baptism or like your connection or ritual in the water? I forgot how I said a ceremony in the water. And she just kind of gave me like a little tip, which was something that I already knew, but I still wanted to be kind to kind of hear from other people, because something about me, I'm a student for life and I like to learn from others. So I was still very appreciative that she even shared a part of like what she would think would be an appropriate ceremony for like the water spirits. So that was that. That was the only time that I had a one-on-one with her. Any other time that I would go on live, she would pop in. She wouldn't really say hi. She wouldn't stay for very long. And I always found it really weird. It was only when Roman would be on the live there with me that she would stay. So I started picking up on jealousy. Me thinking, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's not what it is. I talked to one of my best friends about this situation because I started feeling really weird. Then shortly after, I got a bad review on my podcast. We all talked about it. We all knew about it. We all got upset about it. And that is the reason why a lot of you kind of stood up for me and left y'all's reviews and started rating my podcast even more so, was because of that one bad review. And I just had this really weird feeling that it was her. But I didn't want to let it get the best of me. This is only a month in knowing her. When I went live with Azriel, one random ass night that I was on live on Instagram, because I was banned on TikTok live for, I don't even know what I said, but I got banned for a week. So I ended up going on Instagram for my live, and Azriel randomly showed up and requested to join my live. So as him and I are on the live, he's giving me my flowers. I still have that live because it really meant the world to me for the way that he was talking about the magic that I hold, my relationship with Santa Muerte, and everything else. Very beautiful. And we were just like shit talking. We were drinking. We were just having a good time. I see her pop in the live. and saying, Azriel, hard eyes, hard eyes, hard eyes. And I thought it was a little weird because it's just like, well, you know me personally. Why aren't you saying hi to me? You know? But that's just what I thought. Shortly after, literally within seconds, I get a text from Roman because, you know, as I'm on live, I can still get messages. I see that he texted me asking me if I was on live with Azriel. And I thought, well, that's weird. There's only 26 people on this live. And I remember that very specifically because I kept seeing the numbers go up and up and up because it's Azriel, hijo de la Santa Muerte. So when he texted me that, I looked right away on who was on the live, who was a mutual of mine. And it was only her. And I was just like, that's weird. And as soon as I said, I want to say something real quick and I want to address if anybody has a problem with me. And I looked again on the views, she was gone. Her and her friend Tess. And I kind of was talking about how people really sometimes get me fucked up because they think that I don't post my work, that I'm not about that life. And even as it was just like, it's a good thing sometimes because, you know, when the time comes, they will fuck around and find out, basically. So that was that. I was really fucking thrown off because I was just like, why would anybody tell Roman that I was on live with us here? Like, what's the fucking big deal? The big deal was that after she got off the live, she went and talked shit about Azriel. And I didn't know anything about this, but the next day, because my dreams come in strong, one of my deities, one of my goddesses came through and let me know and verified that it has been her that has been talking shit about me. Because I had felt this mal de ojo for the longest time. And one of my lives, even on TikTok, my red Santa Muerte, her scythe went to the front. And I had to log off because she told me to log off. So I don't even know if it was because of her specifically, but that's when shit started to really kind of hit the fan. Anyways, the next day after the live with Azriel, I had messaged him and I was just like, did you feel that fucked up energy, like that fucking jealousy ass energy after our live? And he was just like, bro, I had to take a baño after we got off the live. And I was just like, dude, I cleansed last night and I'm cleansing myself again this morning because I really felt that mal de ojo. And him and I were just kind of laughing about it, like these bitches are like fucking haters. Because I have been the only one that he's brought up on his live. So that was the whole fucking ordeal. That same day, I made a video showing my altar, talking about going on the live with Azriel and how bitches be fucking haters. Like, if y'all have a problem with me, just fucking say it. Because at this point, I had already been confirmed by spirit that it had been her talking all this fucking shit. Or just talking in shit in general. So by the end of that day, I talked to my best friend about it and she was just like, block her. What are you doing? If your intuition is telling you something is off, follow your intuition. So then I blocked her. When I did that, I literally felt this fucking weight being lifted off my shoulders. I had a small little fall off with Roman because I was just like, well, who told you I was on the live? And he was just like, oh, some of my clients. And I was just like, no, I know it was one of your fucking little ass admirers. And I'm not liking that shit. If somebody has something to say, they got to say it to my face. And he was just like, wait. Like, who do you think it was? Like, let's just establish this. So we didn't talk for a few days. I backed off because I just did not like that like somebody was going to tell him and trying to twist shit up. I didn't like that shit. So I blocked her, whatever. A few days go by. And again, she had a podcast with Des. Because this was shortly after our first ever encounter on a live. Where like me and Roman showed up on the live. I think it was a day or two later when her and Des created their own podcast. And Des can testify that I had even given them their flowers because I was saying that nobody talks about Santa Muerte. And the reason that I had made a podcast was because I wanted to talk about Santa Muerte. Because every time I looked up anything to do with Santa Muerte on any fucking platform on podcasting, they would always talk really ill about her. So my whole intent for the podcast was to talk good about Santa Muerte and just my spiritual journey. So I had given them their flowers for also being part of the community to talk well about Santa Muerte. So again, I see that like there's a new podcast, and I thought it was Des and her podcast because that's what they were doing. And I actually enjoyed listening mostly to Des about their experiences. It was refreshing. So I ended up listening, and everything was just confirmed. Her first ever episode that you guys may listen on that on FenixDelMictlan. I don't even know what her podcast is called, honestly. Is her talking shit about how if you're gonna talk bad about somebody, if you're gonna be talking shit about having haters, we all have haters. Show your face. Show your face. Why you have to show your altar? And I'm just thinking, like, bitch, you never show your face. You never show your face. But you always be talking shit too. What are you talking about? So I was just like, okay, weird. And then she started talking about people that have Patreons. And from what I'm aware, from the mutuals that we have, I'm the only one that has a fucking Patreon. So then I was really fucking like, ding, 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 ding. This bitch is talking about me. So lo and behold, I started, being told everything that she was doing, which was, and I had no fucking idea. I only knew this girl for 3.5 weeks, not even a full fucking month. That's what makes me sick to my stomach. She had been keeping tabs on me for the longest time, and especially during that time frame when we came in touch. She was sending Des screenshots of like, did you see what she posted? I apparently posted a fucking note, and to this fucking day, I don't even know what the note was because I just be fucking talking shit sometimes that it's not direct towards anybody in particular. And if you take it that way, then the shoe must really fucking fit Cinderella. Like, apparently I had posted a note when one of their episodes came out on their podcast talking about like, give credit or like, I'm the original creator. I don't even know. But she became really obsessed and pressed that like, oh, she thinks we're copying her. She thinks we're copying her. Like, she's not the only one with the podcast. Anybody can create a podcast. And I'm here in my own fucking la la land. I'm over here like crying while listening to like the testimonies of the podcast and me supporting them, me sharing both of their fucking profiles to my clients. And my clients can testify. Because then they had to block her after the fact that they found out that this bitch was weird. I had sent people to them both. Because I was just like, you know what? I like their podcast. Fucking support it. But in her mind, I was talking shit about it and I was upset. And then when I opened my Patreon, she was telling Des that like, oh, she's going to get mad when I post about my oil. About my Santa Muerte oil. Because she's talking about a protection oil. I was never talking about a protection oil on my Patreon. I was talking about a protection jar, you fucking illiterate bitch. Again, I'm in my own fucking world. Didn't even know that she had posted a fucking Santa Muerte oil. I didn't pay her no mind. And I think that's what makes me so fucking sick to my stomach. The fact that I was being stalked and watched. Des sent me so many screenshots of her saying, did you see what's been posted? Sending all of my fucking posts and digesting it and making it seem like I was copying her. The one that really fucking took the cake was the one that I had posted about when it started raining here in San Antonio. And my daughter loves the rain for starters. My daughter loves the water in general. When I was going through like my Elegua process and everything of that sort and kind of delving into Santeria, I always felt that Oshun was around my daughter heavily. Like my daughter loves Oshun. Every time we go to the botanicas, she's very much drawn to Oshun and Elegua. Okay. So I'm working on my Patreon this day when it's raining, and I was pulling cards for my Patreon to send in a message, and lo and behold, the card that pops up was of, I'm gonna butcher it and I don't want to butcher it, Chalchicluti. I'm so sorry if I butchered it. She's the goddess of water, the rivers, of storms, the seas. She's the one that brings in the water spirits into action. She's the reason why Tlatok can bring rain, right? No, I didn't put it in all that many words on my Instagram, but I did say it like that in my Patreon. But of course, if you're not a Patreon member, you can't see everything that I post. There's little previews sometimes. I took that shit off because I know that I'm being watched. This was pissed her off. She apparently went on a fucking rampage to Roman and to Des, saying that I was copying her knowledge when I literally typed out exactly the message from the Santa Muerte Oracle deck. But then she said that I got it wrong, that rain is not her, that is the essence of the male counterfeit. Bitch, I know that. I was just saying, because of her, we have the water spirit that brings us rain. But then she's saying that I got it fucked up, but I'm stealing her knowledge. So she took it upon herself, and I didn't even know about this until a week or two later, after I had already blocked her, and Des told me all of this. She had apparently made a TikTok about it. I had the screenshot of it because she deleted it. She deleted a bunch of her videos on TikTok, saying like, be mindful of who you follow and who you listen to, because there's people out there that are stealing my knowledge and putting it on Patreon. Huh? Bitch, what? Like, you're saying that I got the information wrong, but then you're saying that I copy your information. So which one fucking is it? I have the voice note of her fucking going bonkers. She started talking shit about my altar, that she doesn't feel Santa Muerte's energy, all this crazy shit. Then to find out from people that were actually her friends, besides Des, from Talia, which was actually one of her real good friends, that like, homegirl left Santa Muerte for 10 plus years to be with, I think it was her baby daddy. It was a man who never really claimed her because he didn't like Santa Muerte, so she abandoned Santa Muerte. And anybody that knows that when you abandon Santa Muerte, and especially when it comes to a relationship, you cannot come back. There's certain things that you cannot come back from. And if so, it'll take double the time that you left her. 10 years. Do y'all want to know when Roman started helping her back up again? Because Roman was her mentor. But in one of her episodes on the podcast, she was talking about how she's never had a mentor. Okay. It was, he told me, November 2021. November of 2021. So you mean to tell me that you've had in your bio, but she's deleted that too after we've spoke out about her, especially myself. She doesn't have 16 years walking with Santissima anymore in any of her fucking bios. She deleted that. So you mean to tell me you were talking all this hot shit? For what? You were obsessing over me. For what? Oh, before she even knew who I was, the reason why she knew about me was because of Roman. And she had been knowing about me for months, y'all, months. Because she had asked Roman if like me and him were going to get together. And he was just like, well, she's in LA right now. This was when I was in LA. I moved back to San Antonio during springtime. I was in LA all of winter of last year. So this girl knew about me way before I even knew who the fuck she was. That's where we are at. And now, after I had first spoken out about it back in October, I had gotten clients that DM'd me and were just like, I fucking blocked her. I just stopped. I bought a bracelet from her and I started feeling sick, or I started feeling really like weird feelings. And I stopped wearing her bracelet, thinking nothing of it. Maybe I was just making things up. I had people tell me I found it weird that she would always mention she was walking with Santa Muerte for 16 years, but it just didn't seem like it. There was so many people that started coming to me about like who she really was. She's a scammer that uses Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte is not walking with her. She's just not. She's buying statues. She has trickster spirits. And when I was telling Roman this just recently of her talking shit about my altar, and anybody that's a real fucking devotee knows to never, ever, ever talk about a practitioner's altar. Doesn't matter if it's Santa Muerte. It doesn't matter if it's Lilith's. It does not fucking matter. You do not talk about somebody's altar. You don't. If you are a real Santa Muerte devotee and you have real love and respect for Santa Muerte, you wouldn't fucking talk about somebody's altar. But the same statues that are in my altar that are sitting nice and strong and they're the most powerful ones are the ones that I got from Azriel. And guess what? Lo and behold, during this whole time frame, she was telling Roman that she was going to get statues from Azriel, like the tall ones. And then Azriel shows me the DMs because I told him, like, she's been talking shit about you, bro. And then he was just like, but she follows me. This was during the time after we had gone off the live and I had like first blasted her shit. And he sends me all of the fucking DMs, all the receipts of her kissing his ass, talking about you're the greatest and all this shit. Saved all the screenshots because I wish a bitch would. And what happened just last week when again I resurfaced this situation about her talking shit about my altar, Azriel didn't take that shit lightly. And he was just like, well, I'm blocked now. Yeah. And now what is she doing? She copied my body oil. Now she's selling body oils under Santa Muerte. How is it that somebody that's claiming that you're not monetizing off Santa Muerte, but everything you do has her name tagged to yours? How is it that you haven't even fully repaired your relationship with Santa Muerte, but you're out here weaponizing her? You have trickster spirits. And I wanted to leave this shit alone. We're going to talk about this shit one last time. Me, Des, and Talia. We're going to fucking put it out there. We're getting people to fucking understand that this is not just about somebody being a hateful, deceiving, messy bitch. It's about somebody scamming people, their hard-working money, and taking advantage of people who love Santa Muerte and who need guidance. Because she had copied from Roman. She had copied from Talia. She had copied from Des. And secretly has been copying the shit that I do. The podcast. The fucking oils now. Anything to do with something in regards to Santa Muerte, she feels like it's a threat. Reason why I always talk about how proud I am of this podcast was because it was coming from the bottom of my heart. It wasn't coming on no fucking fake shit, none of that. Instead, she backstabbed Des when they had their fucking podcast together. Des said she wanted to take a week break. And instead, what Phoenix did was delete their entire podcast without telling Des. And then the next day, making her own podcast. Des didn't even realize that she had deleted the entire fucking podcast until like a few weeks later. She's selling bracelets of Santa Muerte, charging them a fucking arm and a leg. The oils that she had before was like 150 millimeters, and was charging like $44 for them, almost $50 fucking dollars. And then we started talking shit about it. She made them into 1 ounces. Now all of a sudden she has a baddie oil. Well, not a baddie oil in particular, but the same bottle, the same color, everything. I am just letting y'all know about this whole situation because I don't want to look crazy. I'm not one to fucking start being messy and drop. I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. It's disgusting. But like I said before, at what point are we going to start reporting this bitch on Etsy? Because y'all can report her whole entire shop or her items. When are y'all going to start speaking out about like, hey, this bitch is weird. She's scamming people. She's weaponizing Santa Muerte, misusing her. How many times do we have to stay quiet? Or are we just going to defend people who have a huge fucking platform to finally call out on somebody? It's just so fucking frustrating, and it's frustrating. And again, Des, Talia, and I are going to go live soon enough to just put all the receipts out there, to talk about it, to bring awareness, because next thing you know, this bitch is going to start doing group rituals, and who knows what's going to get attached to anybody that goes and gets services by them. And if you got a bracelet from her, anything of that sort, and you felt fucking weird energy, hit me up. My last client that told me that she felt sick, I literally sent her a new fucking bracelet on me. No charge. Like, here you go. Like, you should not have to be on edge thinking that somebody has trickster spirits without knowing that they actually have trickster spirits, that they're not actually working under Santa Muerte. But it's the way that she talks. And she talks like really well-mannered and like, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to the bullshit. No, she's avoiding accountability. And then turns around and tries to play a victim. And I'm not doing that. I don't want to start my 2024 with the bullshit. I have really huge plans for myself. I have had plans with Azriel. I have plans with people that are genuine and not sick in the head like her. So if you guys want to do something that could be beneficial, report her. Do you know how many people are going to be affected? Because I've said this before, and one of a long time ago, like, be careful who you go get workings done, because the moment that they stopped working with them, or if they're not actually being devoted to that deity, they have spiritual debt. And guess what? You are part of that debt. Then you start wondering why your paths are being closed, tus caminos están cerrándose, why bad luck is happening to you, why you're feeling shitty, why you're having really bad situations when you were constantly getting shit done by just one particular individual, or wearing products from this individual, or going to seek help from this certain individual, and you start seeing things getting worse and worse and worse. And yes, of course, at some point we have to take accountability of our actions and what we do and how we go about it. But if there's somebody that truly does not walk with a certain deity and has trickster spirits are spirits that pretend to be what you think they are, and they suck your fucking energy and just feed off of that. So who's to say what's going to happen to you? Because this person, Danya, is in the spiritual debt. And I'm so glad that Des even mentioned that to me, because I was just so frustrated with seeing that she's still not taking accountability, that she's still, scamming people, was the fact that she's in a spiritual debt. And what happens when those people buy things from her? You automatically become in debt as well, and now you're being scammed. And in this economy, baby, I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. I know that you may be having a hard time in your Dollar Tree fucking job, and this is not to knock anybody that works at a Dollar Tree, but if you're doing things with actual good intentions, good things are going to happen. But if you're somebody like that is just scamming people to try to use Santa Muerte's name to fucking monetize from it, then you're just as bad as the person that was attacking Azriel for being a pastor and saying you should come this way. And again, if y'all want to do something about it, I don't know how many times or how far does somebody have to take it in order for y'all to start speaking up about somebody that is clearly misusing Santa Muerte, that is clearly weaponizing her. We have receipts for days. So I'm going to just leave it at that, because, again, we have a lot more to say on the live. I will allow Des and especially Talia, both of them, they were her friends. They were legitimately her friends. They were doing services for her for free. They heard about her struggles, her addictions, everything. I was just somebody who was friends with somebody who she wanted to fuck. And if she did me this fucking dirty, can y'all imagine how dirty she's doing to people that she calls friends? And spirits that she claims that she loves. Y'all gotta be mindful. So And I had to get that out of my chest. Until next time.